Welcome to the Kentucky X-Files, Season 2, with your hosts Dennis Mays, Tyler Stewart, and Josh Gibbs. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, so you never miss an episode. Now, on to our show.
Guys, the Kentucky X-Files.
Ah!
Ooh. Ooh.
Werewolves of
London.
or
London, Kentucky.
There is London, Kentucky.
There is a
I
lot.
wonder if they have werewolves in London, Kentucky.
I wonder.
Makes you wonder.
Makes
does.
you wonder. We said wonder a lot.
Things that make you go, ow.
My bad, guys. Sorry. There's so many. There's tripping hazards. We're trying to get used to. We are together. If you guys seeing right now on our TikTok, thanks to Denny's wife, we finally got together because we need to do we got a guest. Yay!
We got a guest.
Yep.
Yeah, we've been trying to. I don't know how you guys are dealing with it, but this heat, not the heat, the humidity is
Right.
just kills you. Whew.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
down here, it's like the little bayou. So
Yeah.
It's,
I-
it might as well be swampland.
I want to give props to people that live in like swamp areas.
Yeah.
Like they are troopers because I could not do it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how to do it.
It's great if you're like growing a garden or something, because we got a little vegetable garden over there. And no lie, guys, we have zucchini with leaves on it. The leaves are this big. I mean, I've got a picture of my hand over one, and I've got some pretty big hands. And my hand is maybe a quarter of the size of the leaf. So everything's growing, especially the grass, which is a lot of fun. To
Yeah.
try to keep up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed it working all week, and it just kept getting more and more humid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, maybe today it won't be as bad. And it was like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm already sweating.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
look like you're bobbing for apples.
oh my god,
Yeah, that's all of us too.
this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have a guest, and I'm gonna go ahead and give him a call. He's got some pretty interesting stuff to tell us about possibly being abducted,
I'm excited to hear this.
and for
Oh,
his
yeah, for
privacy, he is to be referred to as Foxtrot. So let's give him a call, see what's up. Hello. Can you hear
Hey,
us?
Dennis.
Hey, what's going
Yeah, I
on?
can- Not a lot, man. Just sitting here at the house.
Right on, man. Yeah, we were excited to talk to you, man. Sorry it took so long, but we were having some tech difficulties setting up stuff and getting the sound right and all that.
Oh, you're all right, man. I'm just glad y'all called.
Oh yeah, man. We were real excited to get your message, and we know I know a lot of weird stuff has been happening to a lot of good people, and we thought, hey, the more folks we get to get on here and tell it, maybe it'll inspire more people to tell theirs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I actually said something to one of my friends after we messaged earlier, and she contacted y'all, Erica Jane. Said she was going to talk to you guys too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man.
So what's what happened, man? What is it that got you to contact us?
Well, man, it was back around New Year's. I'd say a little bit before Christmas, maybe a couple weeks before Christmas. I was at my mother's house in Owensboro, Kentucky, and she lives on Highway 405.
No.
And there's no houses in front of us or anything. And I thought I heard a motorcycle coming down the highway, and it just had this noise, like a whoop, whoop, whoop noise. And for the life of me, couldn't realize that it had been from down the street to right above me within seconds, man. And I was outside smoking a cigarette with my dog, and he hunkered down and looked up, and I looked down at him and looked up, and there's two trees in the front yard, man. And there was a slab of something floating above my mom's house. It was probably 25, 30 feet above me, right above the tree line. And it not like anything I'd ever seen before in my life, man. Like, I'd heard the sky was fake and all this other shit before, but
Yeah.
this blew my mind, man. And it was like transparent. It looked like the sky, but it was square and it was a slab. And I picked my dog up, man, and I ran inside, and I have a little girl, and I sat with her while she's asleep for about 10, 15 minutes, just scared shitless.
No
And
kidding.
then I went, woke up the mother of my child, and then told her what had happened. And she looked at me like I was nuts, and I sat there and explained to her what happened. And to this day, man, she looks at me like I'm a weirdo, and she doesn't want me to talk about it.
No
And
kidding.
this was at like 2 or 3 in the morning, man.
So when you say you say slab, I mean what are we talking here? Like was it like
It looked like a
square?
ship. It was a square, man. It was a square, and it was like it had just checkered out of the sky, man. Like it just seemed like a piece of the sky was closer, and it was just a square, but it was a little wider than the house, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, I smoked some weed, you know, I smoked some pot, but I'm not that paranoid. I don't just make shit up in my head, you know.
Yeah. No, I get you. So you're standing out there, you're smoking a cigarette, and then you hear the sound. Am I getting it right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you that's when you notice your dog reacts, and then you react.
Like, it was immediately. It was like I couldn't tell the difference between anything. Just sitting there smoking my cigarette, enjoying myself.
Yeah.
2 a.m. Sounded like a motorcycle was coming down the highway, and before I ever even realized anything, man, it was like, I don't know if it was like fucking with my head or something, but immediately it wasn't a motorcycle, and it was right above my head before I could know anything, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what scared my dog. My dog immediately, when it happened, he hunkered down and was yelping. I had to pick him up, and I was scared. I ran inside and woke my family up, man.
No kidding. You never seen
I
anything
talked
like
to
that
people.
before?
I mean, I've seen things and I've experienced some things, but this was the most recent, most rarest
Yeah.
friggin' experience I've ever had. And honestly, you know, there's been a lot of stuff happening with the lockdown and the COVID and everything. There's been a lot more people coming out of the woodwork with experiences and things happening.
Yeah.
I have a lot of theories on what's going on, but I mean, I could sit and talk to you all day, man. I mean, 250,000 people go missing a year.
Yeah.
And I know you got to
Yeah.
talk some of that up to, you know, just missings, peoples, and murders and yada yada, what we do to ourselves.
Right.
But 250,000 people a year, man, come on. You know, I mean, for all we know, we could be just like a slave breeding ground, you know, like a fucking whatever we are. You know, they don't let us go past the Antarctica. They don't, everything's GPS to make you think that we're on a sphere, you know, like there's no telling what's real and what ain't anymore. I have
Right.
visions and I have memories of news clips from when COVID first started happening of ships and stuff landing around the world, and I seen shit on the news, and now nobody remembers it, and we all just think we saw it in movies, you know.
Right. Yeah. Well, I noticed that when the lockdown happened, a lot of us, I mean, there was a lot of us that couldn't go to work. So
Yeah.
we were no longer able to be distracted with our day-to-day, you know, routines anymore.
Right.
So you're sitting at home, you know what I mean? You're wide open for everything now.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on, you know what I mean? So you start noticing more and more things out there. And there's there's some people that believe that that's why the pandemic was speedily ended, was
Yeah.
because people are starting to get more and more, you know, open to noticing
yeah.
things. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
wild,
man.
though. We've heard about that
It's-
slab before.
It's gotten nuts, man. And you know, I don't believe, you know, when people do bring up alien, the word alien is just not of this earth, and people think of these green and gray little alien men with big heads. And I just think that's all bullshit. If they're out there, which I know they are, in my experiences, they're like us.
No.
They might be transparent in some sort of way, or they something, because we came here with, this is not our atmosphere. We were given consciousness as some sort of mammal, and
Yeah.
I just believe we're slaves to something. I think we're a breeding ground, honestly. And they just take so many of us a year, and we don't bat a fucking eye because we call it whatever.
Well, I mean, there's so many of us now. The population is so blown out now that, you know what I mean? You get 250,000 people go missing out of, billions.
Yeah.
It's easier to sweep it under the rug than it is, if
Right.
there was 500,000 of us total and 250,000 of us went missing, well, we'd notice that,
Right. Yeah.
I actually want to ask a question. I don't know if you did. I'm Tyler. I don't know if we went
Tyler.
around the room here first. But I wanted to ask about this sighting that you've had. When was this? Like, was this just recently, or was this like a couple years ago or so?
Oh, this was this past year near New Year's and Christmas, man.
Years and Christmas. Okay. So
This was fairly recent.
So
And, you try to talk to people and tell people about this stuff. After it happened to me, I went around and tried to talk to everybody about it, and I'm an artist, and I paint, and I made paintings and did all kinds of stuff because, the inspiration from it all happening. I'm an open-minded person, but people look at you like you're a balloon.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like I don't know how many times we've heard people's stories, and they said the same thing. Like, we don't know if we should talk about this because they don't want to be vilified for just something that they actually encountered and stuff of that nature. And we totally understand that. Like, we guarantee, like, we might not been there with you, but we do believe that you probably saw something, but we don't understand what it is yet, because I know a lot of people out there still.
Well,
We don't have question. We still there's a lot of questions, but no answers to a lot of these things.
It's like a database, the more of us that come out, like Foxtrot here, he's telling what happened to him. He saw what he saw.
Yes.
Okay, so now we can put this out there, and hopefully someone else might have seen the same thing, and now they can come forward. And the more of them that do, now we'll start having a pattern, and we'll be able to track this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can say, yeah, you're not crazy. You saw what you saw, and others have seen it too.
And man, who knows if I was supposed to see that or not? Because
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these things that are happening to people happen to people while they're by themselves. So I mean, if these beings are smart enough to know about our mental and the way our mind works, which I'm sure they do,
Yeah.
then when they do approach these people that are alone, they know for a fact that they can get away with anything because it's all gets chucked up to paranoia and conspiracy,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Foxtrot, I'm Josh, by the way. While you're telling your story, I have a tendency to dig through internet while we're doing this podcast to find links and find, corroborating evidence and things like that. And I went through an old article that I used for the podcast in season 1. And you are within 2 hours of at least 3 of the 5 UFO sightings that are historical in Kentucky.
Wow.
You are less than 2 hours from the Stanford incident. You're less than 2 hours from the Hopkinsville incident. And you're also less than 2 hours from the Fort Knox P-51 Mustang incident.
No kidding.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought you'd find that interesting because that's why I'm sitting here just digging through my
Yeah.
phone. I'm checking. I'm on Google Maps right now, going from Owensboro to this town, Owensboro to this town, and every one of them you're within 2 hours to.
No kidding.
Yeah. More on that night though. Did you? I wanted to see if did you have any feeling? You said you heard the sound, but did you have any kind of feelings? like anything like change in you, like because you said you were enjoying yourself. It's 2 a.m. You were just enjoying yourself outside having a cigarette. Did you have any kind of weird feelings, but like as that like this encounter unfolded?
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, it sounded like just a motorcycle coming down the highway, and it I guess like a half a mile away, I could hear this thing, just thinking the vehicle was coming towards me.
Yeah.
And then instantly, man, it went from being half a mile away, it seemed, to right above my fucking head, and it was like a silent hover. Like you could feel the hover, you couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
And that's what scared my dog. And my dog hunkered down, and I didn't even look up until I seen he was looking up, and I looked up, seen the shit through the trees, picked him up, went inside, woke my people up, and they were just like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
I went ahead, Foxtrot, and I sent a link to the article that I was referencing into the chat so that you can read it as well.
Oh, please do, man.
Yeah, it's already in there. So whenever we're done with the podcast, you can peruse through that.
Oh yeah. Now, Foxtrot, earlier when we were messaging back and forth, you said that you suspected that you may have even been taken.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I was telling you a while ago, I have memories, man, of news clipping, watching the news maybe 4 some odd years ago, when all this shit started going down, of spaceships landing on Earth all over the place, man, in every country. And we were seeing this on the news, and it seemed like a bunch of the pandemic stuff was going on. They were splitting people apart. Our government was falling apart, and you couldn't really focus on anything. I mean, a human's attention span is so small, so to like focus on one thing that happened amongst a billion other things. I just feel like some of the whole mass human memory has been swiped. I mean, like I remember being a child and getting on the internet and looking up spaceships that Hitler had, and I was seeing all these articles and reading all these, news clippings of all this stuff where we've connected with these people, and then now you can't find any of it anymore.
We were actually just kind of joking about the Mandela effect on the last episode.
Yeah.
How every time they seem to fire up this what is it called?
The collider.
The CERN collider.
The CERN collider. Yeah. That it starts to, people all over the world start having these Mandela effects. Like it's almost as if they're remembering things differently. Or
I had one today.
Really?
No BS. Sam had bought the kid a mixer because she's into baking things.
Yeah.
And she bought one of those like KitchenAid style ones, but it's made by a different company. And my entire life, I remember it being Faberware. Apparently, it's Farberware. I don't remember the R being in there. So I had myself a little Mandela effect.
Yeah. But it is odd though that we're getting these memories, and things like that where we remember it one way and then it turns out to be completely different, and then the government recently with their grand uncovering of there's UFOs but we don't know what they are.
Yeah, all that. I've watched those videos over and over again, man. I mean, those are either our own ships and they're just covering up another government's technology. They don't want us thinking that another government has better technology than us.
Yeah.
It's aliens,
All right.
Have you
the government's lied to us so much at this point that we just don't know.
Yeah, no doubt. Look what they did at the Bay of Pigs. We blew up our own, one of our own naval vessels and tried to blame it on Russia or Cuba,
Yeah.
Have you dug into Project Blue Book at all? Like read into any of that?
No.
That's that's what was just released. Is a lot of the stuff that was being investigated by there was a special group in the U.S. government called Project Blue Book that was
Yeah.
specifically for investigating UAPs. So that might be something you
Oh
want
yeah,
to
they
start searching
hadn't
too.
met in they hadn't met in like 50 years or something like that.
No, actually, it's quite recent. There's actually something going on in right now where they're trying to pass a law where the government has to be more transparent about UAPs. And that's something that, if you're not diving way deep in, you might not know is UAP is actually what the U.S. government refers to for UFOs.
Yeah, as UFOs. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't want to use the term UFO anymore because it's just.
Yeah, it's got a stigma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then, with a stigma comes they have to try to, they'll be constantly trying to explain, that they don't know if it's alien or not.
Yeah.
There's some of these ships are, on on camera outrunning, state of the art fighter planes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They've
And
got
the pilots are coming out.
Yeah, the pilots are like, I don't know what it was. What was that? The last one, the thing was literally outmaneuvering and outrunning
Our best
like,
pilots.
our best pilots, and
and
they're
our
like,
best aircraft.
the government was like, we think it was a goose.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I remember that.
Or it was a Mylar balloon.
Like, really,
Yeah.
guys? That's what we can come up with, huh?
It hovered
a
above the
goose.
water.
Yeah, I've raised a couple geese. I'll admit they're pretty badass, but they're not that badass.
Right.
I mean, good old farm, good old falcon hanging around can get rid of a goose real quick. You know what I
Right.
mean?
A Falcon can. Imagine what an F-14 can do.
Right.
Yeah.
An F-14 should be able to turn that into a vaporized, pile of carbon and atoms.
Yeah.
It's
Right, man.
So have you experienced any loss of time?
Do what?
Have you experienced any loss of time?
Yeah, man. Honestly, that stretch of road out by my mom's house, man. When you turn onto 405, when you start coming down that road, you end up at my mom's house way faster than you think. I don't know what it is in that dip or if there's something around that area, but every time I drive through there, man, you get a weird feeling. I don't know if it's just from some type of electrical field around there or what, man. But out by my mom's house, man, there's this road that you drive on, and it's happened to me maybe 2 or 3 times where we're driving and then all of a sudden we're already at my mom's.
Right. Yeah.
And I just drive that road so many times I just don't really talk about that or even think about it, honestly.
Kind of space out a little bit, not even really.
Yeah.
It's
No
'cause
pun
it's
intended.
like
right in
second
that- it's
nature
right in the same
nowadays.
area.
So, what's the water sources around you like?
Do what?
What's the water sources around you like? Do you have big
The
lakes?
water source?
Yeah. Do you have any big lakes
Oh man,
or a
it's
river?
right on the Ohio River, bro. Right on the Ohio River.
right on the river. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Josh?
Well, that's another correlation. It's not only a Bigfoot thing; it's a UFO thing, and we've talked about this in the past. Is that we had a theory that maybe the water was used to either replenish something on the ship or, recharge or cool something because there's so many submersible UAPs that they
Right.
talk about. So I was just curious if you were close to water because it seems like every time we talk to somebody that's got something really messed up going on,
Yeah.
they're either next to a river or a large body of water of some sort.
Yeah. Years ago on I was floating around on abovetopsecret.com. I don't know if you've ever messed around on that website or not, but one of the interesting things I was reading about was it was underwater, like unidentified underwater craft.
Yeah.
And someone had said that they had spotted a giant rectangular black ship right under the surface of the Ohio River. And even to this day, when I go across the river, I can't help it. I always look, thinking
Right.
like, am I gonna see that thing?
Yeah.
So
Well, man, I'm telling you right now that thing that was above me was big, black, and rectangular,
yeah.
and it was in Owensboro, right on the Ohio River.
So, like, how high up, like, in the sky you think it was? Like, was it close to you, do you feel?
So you take, I'd say, an average maybe 30-foot tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was right above the trees, right above it, man. Like
This is
if I was at the
same
top
thing-
of the tree, I could probably touch the thing.
It's the exact same thing Dave said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he was
right there.
okay. So just out of curiosity for a correlation, were you listening to the radio at the time by chance?
Oh no, man! It was about 2 or 3 in the morning. I was outside and nothing but my pants and a
Okay.
cigarette and
I
my
see.
dog,
A
and
friend of
that's it,
ours,
man.
a friend of ours had an
And
incident.
it was close enough to it was close enough for it to scare my dog. My
Right.
dog noticed
Yeah.
it before I did. That's how quiet it was.
Right.
Yeah.
See, a friend of ours had an incident, actually pretty close to the Ohio River as well,
Yeah.
a little further north than you are. And him and his friends were in the backyard, and they were listening to a radio station up here that used to play heavy metal music in the middle of the night. So they're kind of doing their teenage boy camp out thing. And the radio was cutting out. Now, mind you, they were less than 20 minutes from the actual radio station.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't have been cutting out. And right after the radio started cutting out is when their triangle-shaped craft came just above the tree lines, just above the houses, right over their heads, and it was silent as well.
Yeah. And that scenario is more and more common now with sightings than it was, say, 20 years ago.
Yeah. 20 years ago, everything was a tic-tac or a pill shape.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah, I mean, but you got to also think, with the way, everything is with our society and our community and the way human nature is right now, they could show themselves to one person and they don't have to give a damn. They don't have to care if anyone sees them, because it's all just that one person,
Yeah.
And I'm sure they can tell however many people are around. I mean, we have heat thermal energy, before they show themselves, I'm sure they can tell how many mice are in the field, or
Yeah.
whatever.
It makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, we've talked about it before that, it's a strange circumstance that they show up and it's almost as if they're just watching, just kind of
Yeah,
seeing
and
what
that's
we're
the
up to.
old
You know?
that's the old zoo theory, isn't it? Where they can see us, but we can't see them, right?
Yeah. It's kind of, honestly, I mean, it's troubling because it's like, okay, if they show up and they're watching and they're able to watch from such a close distance in almost relative silence, then they're more advanced than us. And if they're more advanced than us, then that's very troubling because it doesn't usually end well for the ones that aren't as advanced.
Right. And I'm no scientist or anything, but if they are abducting us and bringing us back or doing experimental, just learning about us, they have to be able to study our emotions and our memories. I mean, like I said, I'm no scientist or anything, but if they're alien, they have technologies so far advanced ahead of us that it probably seems spiritual to us,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wonder that. I was watching a show where these guys were pulling, they were basically hooking sharks and pulling these sharks up to their ship, and then they were tagging them, and they were letting them go, and the sharks
Right.
were swimming back into the ocean somewhere, and they were like, yeah, we get a greater understanding of the behavior of these sharks now, and now we know their ranges and where they're going and what they're doing, and we know when they're doing it and why they're doing it now because we have all these tags. We can see where they're doing. And I couldn't help think, I mean, these folks are getting taken,
Right.
and a lot of people talk about getting things inserted into them and then basically being dropped back off. But lately, this new trend has been coming up where, or I shouldn't say trend, I guess it's a pattern in the stories where people are saying that they're not even taking them anymore. They're just showing up and doing it right there where they're at.
Right. And it seems like an instant to you, not even.
Yeah. You're like paralyzed and can't move. You know what's going on. You can see what's going on. One guy said that he was, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 years old, and his little brother was like 8, and they were in the same room, and he got the paralyzation, and he saw them standing in the room, and they were standing around his little brother, and he felt this rage because he wanted to jump up and go at him,
Yeah.
and he couldn't move, and he watched them stick something into his little brother's face,
Yeah.
and then they turned him over and they stuck something into his spine, and then after they were done, they pretty much left him alone, and then they all turned on him, and he couldn't move, and they did something to his left eye. And he said the interesting part about it was that over the years, his left eye was perfect. Like for a couple of days afterwards, it felt like he had something in his eye, but as his right eye has degraded over time, his left eye never has. It's always been perfect.
Wow.
And I couldn't help but think, it's interesting, we've got the oceanographic scientists out there, doing their thing with wildlife, and then something is kind of showing up and doing the same thing to us. And to me, it's troubling because it's like, okay, these beings are following a very specific scientific method of we're studying these creatures, so we're not even important enough to, you know what I mean? We're as important to them as the sharks are to us. It's an animal we want to learn about, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, when you said that you felt like you were taken, I mean, how do you deal with that? How do you go forward after something like that?
Well, I mean, me personally, man, I'm a very open-minded person. I try to be experienced in all aspects of my life. I try to do everything full-fledged and understand everything as much as possible. And those are just, like I said earlier, man, memories and feelings. I won't ever fucking know, because if their stuff is so advanced that they can just swipe your memory and make you feel like nothing ever happened. I mean, these feelings come from the depths of my mind and my heart.
Yeah.
And I could scream till I'm blue in the face all day that it happened to me, but I've done moved past the feeling of feeling alone about it and shit. I'm like I said, I'm an open-minded person, so it doesn't really bother me. I mean, if they're gonna take us, they're gonna take us if they want.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered hypnosis?
I mean, honestly, I believe that we, or whatever it is, I believe they're a part of us, and they came here and swooped out the dinosaurs with whatever type of technology they had, and we just say that they died off from a meteor, like Thanksgiving. We get together on Thanksgiving. We don't talk about how we killed off the Indians. We just talk about the friendship.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think we just, as people, as whatever creatures we're combined with, the more conscious side of us came here, swept out the dinosaurs, and now we're here, and we're tearing this planet apart because it's not natural for us to be here, and we're like a breeding ground. I mean, and slavery's naturally in our nature. We enslave ourselves, so who's to say that something else wouldn't enslave us,
Yeah, that is true. I mean, there's definitely
we're made to build. We have hands and feet to move and do things and pick things up and create, and work.
Yeah.
Work is a big part of our nature. That's all we do is work.
That is true. You can't help but wonder. I mean, what would life be like if we put all of our conscious efforts towards making the world better?
They also, there's a lot of people that say that they're harvesting just our energy and emotions.
Now, I've actually heard that one before.
I've heard that one too.
Yeah, I've heard that.
They're supposedly harvesting our energy and emotions to power something, whatever it may be. Maybe their own life, to keep them alive.
Could be their food.
Yeah, their food supply, their food source, their soul food source. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I've heard that too a lot.
Yeah.
And on the top of the topic that you were saying with the sharks and stuff, like tagging, and plus a lot of people saying like you said that the sighting that you had, it wasn't like triangle shape, right?
It was a square.
It was a
It
square.
was more
more of a rectangle. So I'm just saying, a lot of there's sightings of people seeing round or tic-tac shape, or triangle shape. Why are we saying that this is just one species, like one type of?
Right.
because we always say that we believe that they're. Everybody says. I feel like most people out there will say, "Oh, I believe that there's something out there. There's other people, like other types of people out there." But we always, I feel like we always flock to the one thing that we think that the same species is coming to see us.
Oh, and
so
that's the media to blame on that one.
Yeah.
If you go back into the 50s, all aliens were little green men.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
slowly changed into these big, gray, slender creatures because movies did that. You know, I mean, it's it's pop culture that creates the vision of what we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, there are groups out there that have several different races pinned down. Like they tell you that they know this type of race of alien, the reptilians. I mean, there's this whole list of different types of aliens. Me personally, I think it would be incredibly arrogant to believe that we're the only thing that's out there in the universe that's intelligent.
For sure.
Well, I mean, maybe like, my slave theory, maybe we're being breeded as, we're being breeded with some type of mammal to be giving us consciousness, and then we're being sold by our higher selves to other species as slaves.
Right.
Because that's what we've done to ourselves as humans. We've sold ourselves to ourselves. So why wouldn't they do that with other species?
And just a wild theory. What if they're actually, they planted us here for us to build the earth for them?
I mean,
That's what I believe. I believe that we were put here. Something that is a part of us came here and just flicked our pineal gland and gave us consciousness. And, whatever our purpose is, I don't know. But I do know down in my fucking heart that we were made. We were definitely made by something else. And it's not a god of any sort, I don't believe. I think it was another creature.
yeah. I mean, if advanced civilization out there, then more than likely they would be, enough of a genetic power to be able to create, anything or to even seed a planet by then.
Right.
I mean, we're looking at the minimum, we're looking at 4.5 billion years of universal expansion. At the minimum. There's a lot of shit that can happen in that time.
Oh, and human life is, 8 seconds
Yeah.
in a day
nothing.
of that?
Yeah. The only thing that gets me is that when you look at the grand scale of the universe, I am definitely on board with what you're saying, what you said, Josh, about it would be arrogant to think that we're the only ones. The only thing that I can't help but wonder is that the universe is so expansive. There's so much out there. We are literally a dust speck in the grand scheme of things. It's weird to me to think that we, on this little blue planet floating out here in the middle of nowhere, would be important enough to any, to any other life,
Center.
like to somebody, to some other creature out there, unless they were not that far away.
Well, and the other thing too is you think about some of these
Well, fellas,
these people.
I hate to cut this phone call short, but my phone is dying on 2%.
Oh,
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 so
you're
good.
good, buddy. We appreciate you talking to us,
Yeah,
man, and hope we get
sure.
to talk to you again.
Me too, man. And I'd love to get involved with y'all more in the future, man.
Absolutely, man. Stay in touch with me, all right?
I will, man. Thanks for having me, Dennis.
All right, see you, buddy.
Yep.
Well, definitely a lot to digest.
so the thing with what I was getting ready to say is there's groups out there that will flat out protest for an algae.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who's to say that maybe we aren't
The algae.
the algae?
Right.
And I hate quoting cliches, but I'm going to. The fact that there are as many stars in the galaxy, if not less or more, than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of all the world.
Yeah.
And every one of those stars can be a solar system.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a mind-boggling expanse to try to wrap your head
that's-
around.
It's almost too much for our brains. You know what I mean?
Right. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like whenever people talk about the religion and stuff, and they always say you can't comprehend God because you can't think like God. Like we shouldn't be able to think that way. And I'm not a religious person by any stretch of the imagination. So to me, the universe is doing exactly that.
Yeah.
It is more than we can comprehend.
Absolutely.
The infinite expanse of space. You know,
Yeah.
we're a fucking pebble
Yeah.
in a gravel yard.
Oh yeah.
You know, in a quarry. We're a fucking pebble.
That's why, like, I don't want to say it's a problem I have with the UFO thing. It's not really a problem I have with the whole subject. Like, I'm on board, man. Yeah, there's too much weird shit to going around. That's I mean, his Foxtrot story is not. I mean, it's unique because it happened to him.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'm not going to say it's not unique. I'm just saying that others have come forward too with a similar story. So
Right.
people are seeing something. I can remember laying in the front yard of my parents' house when I was a teenager with a then girlfriend, and us watching this green light go flying across the sky, thinking it was a shooting star, and it literally did a U-turn and went back the way it came.
Right.
I mean, like that, like a lightning bug.
I wonder if it was like around the same time that we saw the weird shit in the pasture on the farm I grew up on, and when Dave was with us. I don't think Dave actually saw it, but I watched a green light pull a Yui.
Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and I don't want to give her name on here, but she was a then girlfriend.
This would have been like around 98.
Yeah, I want to say right around there.
That's when I saw mine, was around 98.
Yeah, it was right around that time. Yeah,
So weird.
but it was like people are seeing this stuff, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but I just can't get behind the idea that these beings are coming from across the universe. I think they're right around the corner,
Right.
and
Well, Kepler,
yeah,
you know?
They're like-
that's like almost identical to Earth, but it's still far away.
I
Yeah.
personally, I don't understand. Like, what I have a hard time grasping with this topic is if they can do, like, maybe we're just, I guess, ignorant on this point, because they make it sound like, okay, you can't, like, we physically can't or could not make a journey
Yeah.
without some type of something to just stunt our growing, or like to
something that put us in stasis.
yeah, to put us in stasis, like the cryo chambers that they do in Hollywood and all these sci-fi movies.
That's relying on the fact of as you know it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if they're that advanced that they could make it to another planet light years away, why do they even care about us? Like, if we're not even like, if we have nothing to offer them.
For the same reason you and I and him are sitting here talking about stuff. Curiosity. So if they can create a singularity event, it wouldn't be decades or
That's
hundreds
true,
of
yeah,
years.
yeah.
If they could
I
figure
get-
out how to fold
I get
time and
that
space.
part, but
Yeah,
man,
if the ship can create a singularity, then it wouldn't be an aging process on the way here. It would be
It'd be a trip to the grocery
like
store.
What
Yeah.
they all these people are experiencing. Like, they feel like they're losing time. They're literally,
Yeah,
like,
'cause-
that could be a thing right there. They're in a singularity where they're losing time. They think it's
well here on
minutes.
Earth though. We're only. I mean, our gravity here it ain't shit.
yeah.
We have gravity, but
It's not.
It's not nothing like what's out there.
Like Jupiter.
yeah,
Jupiter's gravity is what, 10 times, if not
So-
more, than ours?
they could literally jump here and see what they need to see, and the gravity field that the ship is creating would screw our time and space up, our
Yeah,
whole
we-
perception.
How weird would it be if the singularity events over the histories were causing the Mandela effects?
I was just about to say that, because
Oh man,
we said this in the episode with Dave, because he said that he thought by him from running from where he was at in the tent
yeah,
to inside his house to get that camcorder tape.
Yeah, it was a trip across a city street.
Yeah, so it would probably, like, what, a minute or two would have been.
Yeah.
And then he said that, and this was like probably the same time, like 2 o'clock or so, like in the morning.
Damnation Alley was on,
So it was
So it
around
was-
12, like 1 o'clock in the morning.
like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he said when he got to his house, his mother was getting up at that time, and
go to
she,
work.
What time she goes to work?
She got up. Well, okay, so I
Then-
don't know then, but I know when they moved out to buy me, she was getting up to go to work like 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
5 or 6.
5 or 6. So he lost within that like probably 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what I'm saying is like if the ship can actually distort gravity,
Then it would just be a trip to the grocery store.
yeah, because technically like because we're only relevant to our gravity, right? Isn't that how they say it? Like
Time is only relevant
relative
to gravity. Yeah.
to gravity.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is like if the ship can change, basically if it has like I guess you would call it like I think we called it in earlier episodes a gravity drive.
Yeah.
If it has like some kind of gravity field that's like messing with people, then
They would lose time.
they would lose time, and I can see that, but I still
It also would explain the feeling that they couldn't move. Okay, so
Yeah.
can you imagine laying in your bed and a ship was over top of you that changed gravity? All right, now follow me on this one here. This just popped in my head. This might be a wild theory, but if a ship that could create a singularity event to travel across galaxies in minutes has enough power to do that, then just hovering, if that's its main source of power, is
Yeah.
changing gravity. If you're laying in your bed and all of a sudden you can't move, maybe it's because suddenly you weigh 500 pounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, that's brilliant.
Your arms
I mean-
go from being what they are naturally to a machine above you that creates gravity, and suddenly you weigh 10 times
Mm-hmm.
what you did before. You wouldn't be able to move. Your muscles would not have the strength to move you.
Especially if they could focus it. You
And
know
it
what
would,
I mean?
and I mean, it would be if it was focused down to keep the ship like because they always say that the lights are coming in around the windows, and the next thing you know, the aliens are in the room.
Yeah.
Like the ship was above the house.
Yeah.
and technically the like that's
That would placate the entire house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody would be stuck in their bed.
Because you ever notice that none of these encounter stories, besides this one we just heard, involve a dog.
Yeah.
I've never heard one besides this one involving a dog.
That is weird, isn't it?
Anytime somebody says one's in their house, every person that's like, when I was a kid, one came,
Yeah.
it got me when I was in my bed. The dog was never in the room.
Yeah.
So either they're avoiding dogs on purpose, or this gravity field
Affected the dog.
is affecting the dog as well.
So the dog itself was affected by the field.
Could
It
not move.
started whimpering. Wow, that's pretty heavy. I mean,
it's coming to me as we're going. I'm just riffing. I'm sure
Yeah.
that somebody can tell me why I'm wrong.
I would love to hear somebody else chime in on this too.
But I would also love to hear anybody that's thought about this and corroborated. you
yeah,
know?
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. But I still think like if they can do all these things, like things that we personally think are impossible,
Right?
what do we have to offer them other than if there's a like resource on this planet that they need and they don't have abundance of on where they're from? I can understand that. Or what we were just saying, we could be a food source, or
I hate to say it, but okay.
or scientific purposes, like you were saying, like geotech. Like,
They could be conservatives. Not conservatives. What's the word I'm looking for?
Conservationist.
Conservationists, yeah.
What?
Hopefully they're not conservatives.
okay, when you're saying this now, they're conservation. Like now, I just picture an alien dressed up like Steve Irwin.
I mean, we could have like aliens with stickers that say "People Unlimited" on the back of their ship. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
G'day, mates. I just captured one of these humans.
Right.
Hey, look, man. We don't make fun of Steve Irwin.
I'm not making fun of them. I'm just saying, like,
man-
if they are,
That man was a
that's-
national treasure.
I mean, but
there's
that's
another Steve Irwin out there that's protecting
so.
us in a way.
I hope
but,
so.
But that's a great point. I mean, think of the stuff that Steve Irwin studied and the stuff he was doing to protect wildlife.
Yeah.
Right? What could a dolphin possibly offer us?
Right.
Nothing. We need nothing from the dolphins. The dolphins don't need anything from us except
Yeah.
for protection right now.
You
So it may be just simply that. They are here to study.
I hate to be a downer about this, but I can only think of a couple scenarios why they would be here to conserve us. And honestly, all of the scenarios I'm thinking of are all pretty freaking bleak. Okay, one is the theory of the dead universe. You heard about this?
Yeah,
that we're at the tail end of a dying universe.
Right.
Okay, so life out there might have been abundant back then, but not so much now. And if it's not so much now, that means that we're only springing up at the tail end of this thing, which means that life might not have been so rare then, but it's rare enough now that if there's life on a planet, someone needs to be keeping an eye on it.
See, I wonder, something I haven't checked into is how far to the center of the initiation of the Big Bang are we?
Yeah.
You know, I know there's a way they can figure that out, the Doppler effect.
Yeah.
You could tell, like, which way things are moving because of the Doppler effect.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering how close to the center we are. So if something's more advanced, they're probably further out because they were where we were a billion years ago. You know?
That's true.
So if they're further out and they're traveling back to check to see where we are, they might be, one, worried that we're advancing too quick or not advancing fast enough.
Yeah.
You know?
See, I think it's that. I think it's the second. We're not advancing as fast as we need to be for our survival.
Right. Well, I mean, the Dark Ages did kind of screw us over.
Yeah.
Well, but personally,
It's
I
always
feel like,
something.
but the crappy, I feel like what's our downfall is that I'm going to poke fun at us, though. I'm sorry, guys. But I feel like we're more into technology as an entertainment than going forward with our species. Like, I feel like a lot of probably the apparent UFOs that we've seen, people like the beings that have visited our Earth, they probably took their time and focused on what they need to keep their species alive.
But
we sit here talking to microphones, hopefully.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
Uh-huh.
at the same time, the first time we picked up a piece of flint and started chopping something with it,
Yeah.
we pretty much right then decided that we were going to be focusing on technology over, we don't have claws and fangs and we don't have all the tools that a natural creature out there,
Yeah, to defend
not that we're
itself,
not
to
natural, but you know what I mean, to live its life. We got to tie a rock to a stick so we can kill that creature and eat it.
Yeah.
We got to have, something to reach into the tree and get the termites.
And to even touch a little deeper on what Tyler was saying, there's another reason why. So if you take technology and use it to placate the masses, to cause them to go into drone mode, then they are less educated because they're getting such an overload of information, they're not retaining anything.
Yeah.
And then you've got the capitalist societies that are actually making money on the fact that we don't have technology. I've said 100,000 times at least that we don't have health care, we have sick care.
Yeah.
That the doctors and nurses, don't get me wrong, every time I've been sick or whatever, the doctors and nurses really want to help. It's the insurance companies and the hospital heads that ruin everything. So, being sick is a business. You don't make money off of healthy people. So if all these technologies that some other, species of creature out there has, and they're actually doing like, hey, we want to keep our people alive, so they're focusing their technology on that, who knows how much more advanced they are than we are.
It totally brings to mind like a scenario, like some world leaders speak to an alien ambassador and the ambassador tells them, hey, you know what? We have enough here to offer you. No one will be sick. No one will be starving. We can help you. And I can only imagine them sitting there in that room with this being and saying, we can't accept. Because the way our world works is based on an economy. If you introduce that, things will collapse. Yeah. If you tip those balances, it won't work. But then you'd almost have to think that an advanced civilization would already know this.
Right.
So they can't intervene.
And see, I'm much further in the dark side, so I would figure like the world leaders would look at each other and go, "God, how much could we charge for this?"
Oh yeah,
You know?
yeah. Me personally,
Do you think bullets would hurt it?
in an actual scenario, I don't believe that scenario has happened.
Right.
I don't see it. I can't if an alien species is that far advanced that they're here studying. To me, it gives me the feeling that it's because, like I said, life wasn't so rare, but it is now. And the only reason I can think that they would travel that far just to pick us up and, do an anal, whatever they do, anal probe and whatever. I don't even know if that's even the big thing anymore.
I don't know. I don't even know.
Hopefully, it
what
wasn't a big thing then.
I don't.
I'm just saying that if they're here studying, they're tagging people, they're dropping them off, they're doing whatever they're doing, and they're not really revealing themselves, to us, then it's more of a like, hey, look, we're at the end of a dying universe. These guys are latecomers. Let's do what we can to kind of make sure that they keep going as best we can for the sake of the universe. Because let's face it, even if humans get off of this planet, as Elon Musk wants to do so bad, get off of this planet and get a second planet, which I'm on board for. Yeah, we have to leave the planet eventually. There's no way around it. One bad day in the universe and this planet is gone.
What if they're evangelical missionaries?
Maybe.
They're just coming here and they're passing out medicine and water and they're maybe setting up things that we discover.
Yeah.
Like we can't interfere too much. Let's let them think they found it.
Yeah. I had an old timer one time tell me this. He said, "What if all those aliens you're seeing out there and those spaceships and all that, the bright lights in the sky and all this and intervening in people's lives?" He's like, "What if they serve the one that you don't want to call God?" He's like, what if
they're angels?
What if those angels that we've written about are aliens?
Have you seen the pictures of angels?
Yeah.
The way they're actually depicted?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It's two slanted, dark orbs that look like almonds with a bright light drawn behind it.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's some in the like they like really depicted. Like they're crazy looking, like they
8 eyes and stuff like
they're
that.
just weird. Like and they say that they're not just like they're not human sized like we depicted in like movies and stuff. These things are massive. They're giant beings.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, like that.
That's kind of what I was saying.
I can understand where they're going with that thing, but then I feel like that's
we're a primitive being, you know what I mean? We're still doing
in relation.
Things. Yeah, in relation. We're still kind of coming into our own. But if you could teleport back to the Dark Ages right now and just start talking to people, they would instantly think you were a wizard or some kind of preternatural being. Because you would know things that they don't know and you would be able to do things that they can't do. It would be magic.
Oh, dude, whip out a strike anywhere match.
Yeah. You'd be a messiah right then and there.
You would be Merlin himself. Did I just cut out? I did. There we go.
I hate to say this. This is a bad joke. Sorry for anybody that's a believer out there in like God and stuff of that nature. I always made the joke that years down the road we'll finally figure out time travel, and the reason why people think God was there is like Chris Angel goes back in time and he does like it's like
right.
He just does all these random like magic tricks in front of people. I hate to say that, but
it would be a douche like Chris Angel, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
it wouldn't
like
be
that. I hate to say it. Like I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a dick like that and say that's Chris Angel is a
He's a douchebag.
He's Jesus or anything.
But that's exactly what would happen is if we had time machine, the biggest douchiest asshole we could ever imagine would be the first one to take a trip back. It wouldn't be like Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
He would go back and spread humanity and good faith and good fortune to men. He would go back and do like he said, look, I'm a wizard. I'm the smartest one here.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
All I'm saying is that we put a label on stuff we don't understand.
Yeah, for sure.
We put the name God out there because we didn't have a better explanation. I'm saying that if these beings are this advanced and they're this smart and they're able to do all this, then terraforming shouldn't be out of the question.
Right.
You know, I mean, even they, you know, they know now that our oceans didn't come from here. The planet didn't have oceans. Those oceans landed here.
Right.
They were trapped inside, you know, meteors. I mean, who's to say that this meteor's flying through the universe and some advanced, you know, assholes, they sit there and they go, hey, there's a lot of water there. What if we give that a nudge so it hits this planet? Yeah, it's going to do a lot of damage now, but when it settles, this planet could have water one day. You know, I'm just saying, you know, you might not be able to go actually put your thumb on it and push the meteor, but you could detonate something next to it.
I mean, and to put it in perspective,
Or cause a gravitational anomaly.
if somebody has the power to create a gravitational anomaly or a singularity event,
Yeah.
those people would be, to us, like we would be macaques.
Yeah, right.
Like we would understand that people have food, take the food and run.
Yeah.
If you see people, they probably have food. We would grasp that. Simple tools, the stick in the hole with a little spit on it to get the ants out.
Yeah.
That's the relationship we would have with them. We would be the macaroni picture on the microwave or on the refrigerator. Who puts it on the microwave? That was a terrible reference. To them.
Right.
You know?
That's why I still think that the ships we're seeing now, the aliens that are coming here, these aren't representing the most advanced.
No.
I think these are the 75 South crew.
These are the drones.
You know, they're working on
Are you kidding me?
I mean,
stuff.
think about it. Think about other than like Jane Goodall. Think about the most brilliant minds we've had on the planet, and think about where they were in life, and think about all the people that worked under them to go do the studying, for them to prove their theories and prove their ideas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
there's somebody much smarter sitting back telling these guys, go check that out.
Right. That's
And
what
another
I'm saying.
thing too, like to go back to your thing, like since you were saying that about water not being actually here, it was like it was in a meteor and
It was brought
and
here. Yeah.
and the way that you were saying is that somebody was like, hey, that if we nudge it over there and it hits,
Yeah.
So you're saying that in a way that these group of people, like beings, were like, it might not have water right then and there, but it will later. So they made a time capsule. We'll come back later, guys. Throw something cool in there, and we'll see what we get.
It's not outside of the realm of possibility that a meteor that size, containing that much ocean inside of it, there is the chance that some kind of primordial DNA could have been in that ocean
And another
and
thing,
survived. And it would have been luck of the draw what you got, you know?
I sit by what I think it is. It's a very outlandish theory on the whole thing. I think we are a aliens third grade science project that is sitting on a shelf.
We're sea monkeys.
Yeah, we are sitting on the shelf somewhere
Yeah,
in
I'm
a
with
dark
you.
room.
I'm with you.
I'm king of the sea people.
So yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely sea monkeys.
Well, guys, this is getting over an hour.
Yep.
I think we should let these guys go.
Yeah.
I had a great. It's awesome. We have a guest. It's been so
Yep.
long. Thank you, Foxtrot,
Absolutely.
for joining us
Yep.
on this journey.
Yes.
Especially because we never get UFO.
I know. I
Encounters
was
and
so
stuff.
excited.
I
Yes.
need so much more of this.
I know.
Yes.
I was so excited that somebody wanted to tell us about their UFO experience.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait.
Right. I was stoked.
Yeah.
I was reading the chats because I was letting you run the helm. So
Oh, yeah.
when
I
he
was
messaged,
like, oh
we're
my
all
God.
reading it as he's typing it out. I'm like, oh.
I know. I'm like, because you never know. Sometimes people message us and they'll say like, "Hey, I had this encounter," and I'm like, "Hey, would you mind jumping on and talking to us about it?" And they're, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
They
And
disappear.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But
Like,
it's when somebody says like, "Yeah, I'd love to talk to you
Yeah.
guys about it." I'm ecstatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like with that being said, like definitely message us on our Facebook, or
Yeah.
you can send it to our email at encounters@kyxfiles.com.
Yep.
You can be a phone-in guest,
You
or
can
you
be a
can
phone guest.
send us an email. We'll read emails.
Yeah.
We're crazy with emails.
You can also leave comments.
Comments.
Oh, and you know what? If you're a big fan of the show, like Travis is, you can actually have these episodes a day early on the Patreon.
Ooh.
And that's
Yeah.
he's been super enjoying that. I know he has, because
Yeah.
I get all the messages from him about it. It's funny too, because if you ever notice that Travis isn't commenting on the YouTube channel, it's because he already did on the Patreon.
Is that what it is?
That's what's
Well,
going
gonna
on.
say,
sometimes he'll jump back on the YouTube. He's like,
Yeah,
I
he-
still
he chimes in.
because I remember the last episodes. He's like, hey, I still had to come on YouTube just to show you guys some love.
Yep.
See,
I
it's,
was like,
it's so funny too, because I'll hop on YouTube and I'll go to our link of whatever video it is that week, and I'll go, oh, we have a comment. I'm gonna go check out this, see what Tyler had to say.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll surprise me, like Balls May Bite or
Yeah.
Russ.
Yeah.
Russ is coming in a lot, and then was a Molly Lollipops.
Yeah. I saw that one. Yeah.
There's a few of you guys that used to comment all the time that have disappeared, and I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, I know. I haven't. There's been a few that haven't been chiming in lately.
Yeah.
Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, come
be
back
strange.
and talk to us again. We need to be able to comment on comments. That gives us some content sometimes.
and plus, if you are on these episodes, give a like, comment,
Yeah.
a star, or whatever, a sticker.
Share.
Big welcome
Share.
back to all of our Spotify listeners.
Yes.
Oh,
Glad to
yes.
have you back.
I can't. Didn't we already had it back up last episode, and I think we forgot
Yeah.
to say anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. But hey, I'm glad they're back.
I'm so
It's nice
excited
to-
it's back.
Yeah, it's nice to see that.
We won the war between
Yep.
Anchor.
We're
Yep.
firmly nestled in Spreaker's bosoms now.
Yep. It only took, 12 episodes to get us back?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah. we kept fighting through it though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dearest, sincerest apologies to all you Spotify listeners.
Absolutely.
We did not do that on purpose. It
Yeah.
was out of our control.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, definitely. Glad to be back on there. It's awesome.
Yeah. I'm hoping we can get on Pandora too. That'd be great.
That actually, that should be happening very, very soon.
Nice.
Yep. That one's that's a little bit of a tough nut to crack, Pandora, but we're in now, so people should see us popping up anytime.
Nice. Very good.
Which would
Very
be
good.
really cool. But yeah, all right, guys, you guys out there, hope you enjoyed the episode. And like always, take care of each other out there. We'll see you on the next one. Marinara.
There's an owl out there hanging around, and it's pulled my number for sure. I can't remember if I said any last words, because the day before was a blur. They buried the old man about a week ago, and I wouldn't shed a tear if I could. head for a